Hi, Wasteland Armor here. Back again with another fun video. So, at popular request, for some reason you guys seem to like me doing my kind of corny would guns be good in SHTF situation videos. So, we'll go ahead and do another one with another gun that I really like. So this is the 1917 American Enfield. These guns were, just for a little background, originally developed actually by Enfield as the model 1913 for England to replace the SMLE, which it never did. The original version was in a weird British 7mm cartridge that was pretty similar to a 7mm Rem mag. But they just never really took off, especially with World War I starting, and they just stuck with the SMLE. However, they did contract with the United States to build a bunch of the pattern 14 rifles, the P14s, in 303 Brit. And those were made pretty extensively. They're not too hard to find today. And those were pretty good guns. England mainly used them as rearguard guns, even though they're possibly better than the Lee Enfields. But what ended up happening, though, is when the U.S. got into the war, we needed guns bad. We did not have enough of the old 1903 Springfields. So the American government contacted the American manufacturers and asked if they could actually switch these over to 30-06, and the action was definitely suitable, so they did. And there were some issues. The Winchester-produced guns, the parts interchangeability doesn't work well with the Remington and Eddystones, but they did eventually get it figured out, and they ended up pumping out, I believe, several million of these things. So they ended up being the most prominent gun used by the U.S. in World War I. Also, just a interesting historical note, it is now quite a bit of evidence to believe that Sergeant York used one of these instead of a 1903 Springfield in his famous battle with the German machine guns. So just kind of a little kudos there if you need a recommendation. Sergeant York used them. Also, they were used a little bit in World War II. Stateside, they used them just as reserve duty rifles. And then the Philippine Resistance apparently used these things a lot with quite a bit of success. So, and I believe some were also sold to China. So they did get around a bit. So let's kind of get into what it is. It is a 30-06 bolt action, obviously. Holds 6 rounds instead of 5, which is kind of cool. The bombers, they only ever made 5-round stripper clips, but because of that update from 303, they can cram another round in. Mine's made by Remington, so okay, you can see right there, 1917. This was a very nice pattern one. I got lucky getting this one. They use a aperture rear and then just a regular old blade front sight with a sight hood. Pretty good sight picture. The rear sight setting, the battle sight, is set for 300 yards. However, you can flip it up, and then it's got adjustments from, I believe, 100 up to, let's see there, 1,800 yards. So if you feel like shooting 1,800 yards, there you go. They use a similar shape of stock to a Lee Enfield with that semi-pistol grip, except now it's a single-piece stock. Pretty heavy gun, probably about 10 pounds, and fairly long. It has a 26-inch barrel on it. So let's kind of get into maybe some practical uses for these things and potential SHTF application. So obviously it's an old bolt gun. So you're looking at something that is probably going to be behind, well, it will be behind any sort of modern semi-auto battle rifle in most regards. Also, compared to modern bolt actions, it's probably not going to be as accurate. However, it is most likely going to be far more durable. And this one will ruffle some feathers, but I think it's better made than probably 90% of what's out there. But because of the tolerances of the time, it's probably not quite as accurate, and also old. So 30-06 is an SHTF caliber. It's a great round, and just it's very available. It's common, not quite as common as it once was, but still you can get the stuff at Walmart, which says something. Find it in little stores across the country. So, I mean, in a situation like that, I really wouldn't count on scavenging, but you should be able to stock up on it, no problem. Now, speaking of scavenging, one advantage these guns could have in a situation like that is should you have 308 available and this rifle, because it uses a claw type controlled feed extractor, you can use 308 Winchester in these guns. Now, I'm not recommending you make a regular practice of this. However, in an emergency, it can be done. And I'm going to prove it to you right now and show you a clip from a video I made shooting that and what kind of accuracy it'll give. Today we have our 1917 Enfield in 30-06 shooting 308 Winchester, and there's the case head, just in case you're wondering. Already got 2 other rounds loaded. We're going to also try for accuracy. It's usually not going to be as accurate. However, this is been tested to be safe. I found old documents from the U.S. military when they developed 308 that they made the chamber taper just a little bit shallower so that it won't blow back on gas, because they knew this was going to happen. I don't recommend this, but I want to show that it can be done. Just for a little proof for you guys. That is what a 308 looks like fired out of a 30-06. Almost totally straight wall, that's where the shoulder starts. This will eventually build up carbon in your chamber, so I don't recommend doing this a lot. Or if you got access to .6, probably ever. But it can be done. Thanks for watching. So aim in there. That's 3 shots of 308 at 100 yards out of a 30-06. So it's viable. This isn't like a full-size man-sized target. This is like a mini IPSC. There's the dimensions there. So yes, actually, it is a viable thing to do. Just, again, I wouldn't do it unless you need to. So as you can see from that clip, it definitely, it works. Which, that is something in general of any controlled round feed 30-06 bolt action that I think is an advantage in a situation like that, is you could scavenge if you needed to, especially since that's a NATO caliber. Other positives to it is these are actually very fast actions. So I want to show you another video, just clip of a mad minute I've done with one of these, and you'll just see it's a very smooth action. Just nice to work. I don't know if it's quite as easy as, say, a straight pull, but definitely faster than some of the other turn bolts I've done. So go ahead and check that out. When our target's out at 100 yards. Alrighty.
Go! Stop!
And as you can see from that video, I was able to get 20 rounds off in a minute, which is pretty impressive for a bolt action. Not quite 30 like the British could do with a Lee Enfield, but not very many of them could actually do that. So pretty fast. The sights on these are really good, and that's one of the big advantages. During World War One, when they had these, that's possibly the best sight that was on any commonly issued battle rifle. I've used an 03 Springfield, and this thing's sights are a lot better. The only thing I don't like is that you can't adjust the windage, and with that front sight hood, it's kind of hard to get to the front sight and drift the front sight, so it can be a bit of a bugger to zero these, but once you do, then it's on. And just one nice thing though with the sights is it makes shooting quick actually pretty easy, and you can also make some pretty precise shots. I think of the World War One battle rifles, this may be possibly the best one for modern serious use. The one exception I might say would be the Swiss G9611s, but they weren't used in combat, so they kind of don't count in that way. But those I think might be a match for these. And then the SMLE arguably also might be a match for it, but I think in general I would probably prefer these over a Lee Enfield for a lot of applications. So just observations I made shooting quick is I have run and gun with this, and the stock shape isn't quite ideal. That the comb, it really drops down kind of far, and that results just in some, I feel like it kind of flops a little bit while you're working the bolt, but it's not too bad. Could be a lot worse. And the sights are easy to pick up quickly. I want to show you just a run and gun I did with this thing, so you can just kind of see how it does in application and how it handles. And as you can see from that run and gun, it did pretty well. One thing that's kind of an interesting thing, and I was topping off the extra round in that run. I do wish that they had made 6 round stripper clips. It would have been nice. Only having a 5 round capacity after you empty the first magazine is not the end of the world. And I do like that it has a bolt hold open. When you're shooting quick, sometimes you just aren't counting your rounds, and it's nice to have it tell you it's open. So compared to like maybe other guns of its era, the sights are definitely superior to what you'd find on like a German G98 Mauser. I think they're better than a Lee Enfield's. Kick the crap out of a Carcano, and definitely way better than a Mannlicher. Uh, Probably goes without saying the thing's better than the French rifles. That's not hard. But overall, just a very rugged bolt action. These have a good reputation in some parts of the world like Greenland too. I believe the Dutch or not Dutch, Danish Navy still uses these things actually. As far as what you get for what you pay for them, on the lines of a practical gun, you can probably do better. This one was $1,300. Probably the most expensive gun I own. And for that money, you can get some pretty nice fighting rifles these days. But if you do decide to get one, I don't think it's money that's not well spent because it is a very fine piece of equipment and will probably outlast you. You can also find these sporterized and often quite cheaply. I've seen them under $300 sporterized. Although I think you lose some of the capability with when you sporterize them. A lot of times they're less accurate. They heat up way fast, or not necessarily heat up faster, but they become unusable way quicker, not having their hand guards. And I just think usually it's detracting from the rifle. However, sometimes you can find them that aren't too bad, and it's a lot cheaper to get them that way than in the original configuration. Just a couple other fun notes. So when I was in Civil Air Patrol, which is the Air Force Auxiliary, we used dummy versions for color guard. So it was kind of fun to get the real thing for finally and be able to shoot them. So it's the closest thing I'll ever have to getting to shoot my service rifle, quote unquote service rifle. And just yeah, overall, I'd say probably if I had to rank them, I'd give them on a 1 to 10. I'd probably give this about a 7 for SHTF use. It's pretty good gun. I'd say one of the better bolt actions available. Well, I appreciate you watching, and this is Wasteland Armor. If you enjoy this type of content, like, subscribe maybe, and I definitely love comments. I love just seeing different people's thoughts in the comment section. So, appreciate you watching.